Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as promised, I am going to be doing a full face of Kogendo makeup. You guys know how much I love the brand, at least everything that I've tried from them. The cleansing spa water is my holy grail, hands down, absolute favorite makeup remover. And I love their Aqua foundation, which is what we'll be putting on today. I've also tried their Moisture Fit concealer, which is a very good one. I have it in 2 shades. And then they were kind enough to send me like so much makeup. And if you guys watched my PR haul, you saw this crazy box of stuff. There's a lot of powder in here, lip products. We're gonna try and get through all of it without making this video super long. So without any further ado, let's get into this full face of Kogendo. Oh, okay. Ignore this like weirdo barrette I have here because I have this one piece of hair. Let me see if it's gonna do it. Well, I had this one piece of hair that was sticking like straight out, and no matter what I did, it just, So maybe that barrette just tamed it. We'll see. If it sticks back up, I'm going to stick the barrette back in. So let's start with foundation. I've got the Kogendo Aqua foundation. I love this foundation. This foundation has appeared in a lot of my videos, like my top 5 favorite foundations. It still is definitely up there. And they have since reformulated it, actually, since I made that video. And I like the new formulation even better. How often does that happen? Like not often at all. I feel like if I love something and then they reformulate it, it's like ruined. But I feel like they actually made it better. I like the finish. It's a little bit less dewy going on, but it kind of warms up and it just looks more and more beautiful on the skin the longer you wear it. It's fascinating. So anyway, I'm going to be putting this on today and I have it in the shade 123. Here's the shade and the consistency if you've never seen the Aqua foundation. So it's pretty light in texture. You know, it's not very creamy. It's a little bit runny, as you can see. Just going to dot this all over. And I'm actually going to try a different foundation brush today. This is the Sigma Flat Kabuki Air Brush. There's that hair. Here it is. Just sticking straight out. All right, there's the foundation on. Doesn't it just have the nicest finish? Just a little bit dewy, a little bit radiant. I just love it. All right, let's move on to concealer. So I have 2 shades. I have 02 and 03. So 02 is something I use under my eyes if I want to kind of brighten them a little bit. And then the other one, the shade number 3, is something I use on my face if I want to just sort of like spot conceal, like hyperpigmentation, things like that. So let me start with this 02, blend that in. I'm just using my foundation brush. I'm feeling a little lazy today. All right, and now I'm going to take the 03, and I'm definitely going to have to get a smaller brush out here for that. Maybe I'll use this Smashbox cream brush. I'm just going to dot this over some spots that I have, and then just gently blend that in. I don't want to shear it out too much. That'll kind of defeat the purpose. So I'm just going to pounce lightly. All right, so that's the 02 concealer under my eyes and the 03 concealer kind of all over my face. I think the coverage is decent. You know, it's not super, super full coverage where, you know, it just feels kind of like paste or putty on your skin. It just has a nice, I don't know, evening effect on top of the foundation that has just a beautiful, beautiful effect on the skin. So those 2 things I've had in my collection and I've been enjoying quite a bit, but let's get into some of the things that they just recently sent me. So they sent me 3 different powders. So they sent me the sheer Lucent powder, the face powder, and then the natural lighting powder. So there's quick descriptions on the back of each box. So for the sheer Lucent powder, this is the one that comes in the gold box. It says it refracts light naturally for soft luminescent finish for fair to medium light skin tones. So I'm feeling this is going to be the most luminescent. And then this natural lighting powder, it says finely milled translucent setting powder for natural and flawless finish with a subtle radiance. Minimizes the appearance of imperfections while keeping skin hydrated with silk powder and hyaluronate. Okay, so this also has a little bit of radiance. I'm sensing probably not as much as this. And then the straight up face powder says, finely milled translucent setting powder for a natural and flawless finish, minimizes the appearance of imperfections while keeping skin hydrated with silk powder and hyaluronate. Okay, so none of these powders have different shades. They only have one shade available. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the straight up face powder, the one that looks kind of like the whitest, and I'm going to use this underneath my eyes. And I'm actually going to use the puff that's included. I don't do that often. And I'm going to kind of do that press and roll underneath my eye to set the concealer. That has a beautiful soft focus kind of effect. This reminds me of the Viseart Seamless Setting Powder. I love using that around my eyes because even though it's very mattifying, and I remember being worried that it was going to make my eyes look really dry, it doesn't. It actually kind of does a really nice blurring. Really nice. And it does a really nice job mattifying my eye area without making it look too dry. Again, just like that Viseart. Let me just finish and apply it to the other eye. Really pretty. So that is the face powder around my eyes. I think what I'll do next is use the natural lighting powder to kind of set my whole face. And while I think all of these are translucent powders, this one has more of like a skin toned tint to it. And I'm going to use my Chantecaille travel face brush here and buff that in. So what I really like about the Koh Do products is that most of them have like hyaluronic acid in there, so it really prevents dryness. There are no artificial colors, there are no parabens, there are no mineral oils, no phthalates. They're cruelty-free. So they use some sort of like combination of ingredients. I know they do in the new foundation, they do in their powder foundation. And again, the only way I can put it, because you know, I'm not a scientist and I did not create these products, but they're products that just look better as the day goes on. They're just amazing, absolutely amazing. They just meld with your skin. They don't dry up, they don't crack up, they don't do anything weird, they don't fade in a weird way. They're just really, really beautiful, beautiful products. Because I'm starting to sound like one, I just want to mention that this is not a sponsored video in any way. This is not a commercial or anything. I just happen to be very passionate about the brand Koh Do, and they were kind enough to send me this stuff, but this is not sponsored. I'm not being paid to say any of these things. I just really like it. All right, so I am all set. I'm all powdered, and hopefully you can see that I don't look dry. I just look mattified. I look like, my makeup has been set, but I don't look like crackly in any way. So the Koh Do Contrast Powder, this is a silky duo contouring powder set that blends seamlessly with the skin to sculpt, define, and highlight. So here's the bronze shade, and then here's the highlight shade. And I'm just reading off of the website. Let's see, absorbs excess face oil while maintaining skin moisture with their T3 oil, a blend of jojoba oil, olive, squalene, and shea butter. Replenishes skin with protective moisture. I think that is their blend that they use, that kind of like this, like the website says, like you don't get greasy, but your skin also starts to look really, really natural. And I think it's from this T3 oil. My only concern right now is that this contouring part is really tiny. I'm going to use this Hakuhodo brush. I believe this is a contouring brush. So I am going to dip this right into the bronzing side, or the sculpting side, I should say. Wow, that picked up a lot of product, and I was expecting to pick up the brush and see all this kick up, but I don't really. I don't see any kick up, actually. Oh, pretty. It's a little bit warmer than I thought. I thought it was going to be, by looking at it in here, I thought it was going to be really gray, but it's nice. It's not too cool. I mean, I like a cool contour, but you have to be really careful if it's like really cool. Like in real life, sometimes it can look kind of weird. And I like how this powder like picks up easily on the brush, but there's no kick up. Oh, that's so interesting. This is a very precise contour brush. Takes a little bit longer to contour when you have one that's this small, but you really talk about intentional makeuping. Pretty. So there is the contour. Shows up plenty on my skin tone. I feel like if you're a couple shades darker than me, this would still work. Let's see if it's buildable. Oh, yep. Pretty buildable. Now I have a crazy looking contour. All right, so I have some intense contour going on right now, but that is very, very effective. All right, I'm gonna come back to this highlight, but I want to put on some blush first. So I got two cheek palettes here. Ooh, pretty. So these cheek palettes look to have like a blush and then like a lift kind of highlight color there. Maybe something like the Charlotte Tilbury Swish and Pop cheek, the nipple blushes. This one is shade Coral, number 2. I'll hold that up again. And then this one is shade number 1, Pink. So here is Pink and here is Coral next to one another. These feel so silky smooth in the pan. Oh my gosh. These are incredibly finely milled. Ooh, I'm excited for this. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for the Coral. I'm feeling a little bit more warmer tone today, but I'm gonna try my Sonia G Phase 2 brush. It's a little bit more narrow than a typical blush brush I use, so hopefully this will work out nicely. And buff that in. I'm gonna keep this darker shade kind of towards the back of my face, and then on the apples we'll go in and use the lighter color to kind of pop the cheek. Look at that pretty sheen. Isn't that pretty? Almost looks like a blushy highlight. Oh, you know what? Darn. You know what I had? I had these liquid illuminators that I really wanted to put into the foundation, and I completely forgot. The Aqua Foundation Illuminator. I just remembered when I was admiring the sheen to this. So there's shade IL00, which is white. I think this may be a little bit too cool for me. And then there's IL01, which is like a sheer beige. Maybe I'll try tapping this on. I really want to see what the effect of this is. Oh, it's like a brush. So let me finish up the blush and I'll think a little bit more about whether or not I actually want to use this on top of powder. So I'm going to use the lighter shade here and put that like on the balls of my cheek. Oh, little pop, yeah. And this lighter shade I feel like shows up on the skin a little bit more than I thought it would. That's really nice. All right, so that is the Mineral Cheek palette. Really beautiful, and so these powders are so soft and so finely milled. All right, so I think what I want to do is try and put a little bit of this on. I really hope it doesn't disturb the powder underneath, but this is the applicator. It's like a brush, and so I'm just gonna dab, 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 just three dots there, and then I'm gonna use my finger and just kind of pat it in so I'm not kind of going back and forth. Ooh, look how pretty that is. That is lovely. I'm going to take a close look and see if it disturbed anything underneath. No, it didn't lift anything or like shift any of that powder around. Works nicely on top of powder. So now what I want to do is go back to the contrast powder and use this powder highlight over on top of it. I kind of want to see how intense this highlight is without using my Sonia G Sculpt 3 brush. That I feel like makes any highlight pretty intense. So I'm going in with a fluffier brush. I just want to see what the effect is kind of all on its own. So this is like a blush brush, but it's squirrel hair. So it's really, really light and fluffy. And I'm going to go back into this contrast highlight powder. Again, like so much powder picks up so easily and then there's no kick up. It's like magic powder. Oh, how pretty. And it does have, hope you guys can see that, it does kind of have like a pinkiness to it, where this was definitely a bit warmer. This is a little bit cooler. I like how they're kind of playing off of each other though. So this is with the powder on top of the liquid highlighter, and then this is just the liquid highlighter. Is extremely, extremely pretty. I really like this contrast powder. So they sent over 2 brow products. I have an eyebrow pencil and a powder eyebrow. And I'm not that well versed with powder eyebrow products. I think the only other one that I have is like the Dior one, which I really enjoyed. So I'm excited for this one. This is in the shade 01 Brown. Oh, it kind of looks like that contrast powder, like a teeny one. So the deep shade and then a lighter shade. Oh my god, how funny. This applicator is so cool. So it was sitting in the palette like this, but you actually put them together. So here is like the brush, and then here's the spoolie, and then you just click them together. Stop it. Can we just talk about their packaging too? I haven't even mentioned it, but this like metallic red, so cool. So it's one of those retractable twist up pencils. Very fine tip. This reminds me of like the Brow Wiz tip. Brow the Brow Wiz, like the original one. Ooh, really waxy. The brush strokes you get are very, very fine. So I'm just going to use this to draw in some hairs that I need. And then my one thing that I would want on here is a spoolie. There's no spoolie on this eyebrow pencil, so that's kind of annoying, but the pencil itself is really nice. At least there's a little spoolie here. I'm still like so jazzed about this little brush. And then I'm going to use the powder to kind of do a fill in. So I think this shade is definitely too warm for me. I think you can probably see it through the screen. It looks kind of red here. All right, so those are my brows done. I feel like I like this pencil, really, really like it. And then this brow powder, I feel like the tone is just a little bit off. It needs to be a little bit cooler. Moving on, let's look at eyeshadows. So they actually sent over this eyeshadow to me a little while ago, like before they sent over all of this other face stuff. And this is the quad that they sent me. It's so beautiful. It actually reminds me of kind of like a subtle version of Cocoa Mirage. I'm very excited to play with this, especially like with the quality of their powders. They're so fine. And it says it's formulated with the Kogendo Original Gloss Film Powder. It fits perfectly on skin with a natural luster for long wear. So that gloss film powder is the stuff that is in the powder foundation that I felt like really just made my skin looks so beautiful as the day went on. So it looks like they only have two versions of this eye quad. They have basically this brown, and then they have like a cooler, more like pink hued option. So the site says benefits: soft focus reflectors diffuse light to minimize lines. Gloss film powder prevents creasing and fallout. Palette includes 2 applicators. It has the T3 oil, again, the blend of jojoba oil, squalene, olive squalene, and shea butter. Not tested on animals, gluten-free, no artificial color, synthetic fragrance, mineral oil derived from petroleum or parabens. I'm going to try a Hakuhodo synthetic haired brush. This is the I-142. It's like a blender brush. I'm going to go into this shade down here and just start to add a little dimension. Pretty. It has a very subtle satin sheen. Very, very subtle. Nice. I like that. Nice and subtle. I don't know if I like this brush that much, actually. This is totally different, but this is a Real Techniques powder blue brush. I'm going to go and use this. It's much fluffier. That's pretty. Nice, subtle dimension there. There is a little bit of kick up with this powder. Some of it went into this lighter shade up there. I'm just going to kind of blow it away. All right, I'm going to try another one of these Hakuhodo synthetic haired brushes. This is the 5523. I'm going to go into this darker shade over here and deepen up my outer corner. I'm finding this palette a really nice, refreshing change from all the like hyper pigmented eyeshadow palettes we see out there. It's really beautiful. It's so elegant. Look at that kind of just subtle gradation you have there. Now I'm going to take a flat shader. This is the Hakuhodo I-004. I'm going to go into this pretty shimmery taupe shade, and I'm going to put this on the inner portion of my lid towards the center. Oh, I like this. This would make a really nice kind of like all over lid shade. It's a little bit cooler in tone than the other two browns, but it works nicely. All right, I'm going to take that same shader brush, and I just want to see how bright this is. I'm going to use this underneath my eyebrow on my brow bone and see if it's maybe too stark. It's a little bit white. I don't know if I'm that impressed with that white shade. I like the 3 other colors a lot more than that one. All right, so there is my eyeshadow. I think that I really like how it's subtle, but it's still there. Like, you know, obviously I have some eyeshadow on. I think I mentioned this when I was putting it on. I feel like it's mistake proof. It's definitely buildable, but it doesn't go on like too much. I don't think you could mistakenly go in with like too heavy of a hand, which I think is really, really nice. I really hate having to fix eyeshadow mistakes because it just takes forever and it never looks quite right unless you just sort of start over from scratch. So anyway, let's move on to eyeliner. So I have 2 different eyeliners. I have an eyeliner pencil and a liquid eyeliner. So let's use both. I'm going to use the liquid eyeliner on my upper lash line, and then I'll use the eyeliner pencil on my lower lash line, maybe my waterline. The liquid eyeliner I have is in the color Black 01, and black is the only color that they have. So this has like a flexible brush tips. It says that it's an ultra pigmented liquid liner, delivers glossy definition that never smudges. So maybe this is not a matte black eyeliner. So that's good to know. I know a lot of people feel very strongly about their liquid eyeliner and they only really like matte liquid liners. So let's see how glossy this is. This is such an interesting formula. The actual liquid eyeliner is a little bit tacky. And when I first started to put this on, I was like, is it the brush that's like picking up on the eyeshadow? Like I didn't know what was going on. I think it's the eyeliner itself that's like a little bit tacky, and it actually makes putting the eyeliner on easier. So it's definitely not a matte eyeliner, but it's not like super shiny eyeliner by any means. Brush tip is really nice. It's flexible, but not too much. All right, so there is the liquid eyeliner on. I like the brush. I like that kind of weird, like slightly tacky formula. I don't think I've ever come across that before. Definitely want to tightline and probably waterline with this eyeliner pencil. So they sent over the shade Brown 01. This is what it looks like. And oh, it's one of those twist up ones. Wow, okay, that went on really easily. Sometimes I have a hard time getting the actual crayon to like stay on my waterline. No problem with this. And interesting, I think they only have brown. I don't think that they actually have a black eyeliner. Nice, I'm really, really excited about how easily that went onto my waterline. I only have a few, like a handful, not even a handful of eyeliners that do that, like the Tom Ford, the Pat McGrath, this one, and then I feel like a lot of other ones that like look great on my skin, they have a hard time like sticking on my waterline. So they sent over their Long Lush Treatment Mascara in 01 Urushi Black, and it looks like they have it in black and blue. Oh wow. I was expecting, when I saw that they had two colors available, I was just expecting that it was going to be brown, but it's actually blue. So they have black and blue. Yes, this is one of those tubing mascaras, which I've been dying to try, and I feel like I always forget. I always forget to kind of like add a tubing mascara into my cart. So I'm super excited to try this. Again, it has a T3 oil, that jojoba, olive squalene, and shea butter. Volumizes, lengthens curls, separates lashes, etc., etc. So I'm excited. So here it is. All right, so I'm gonna curl my eyelashes. I always feel like some weird version of Hannibal Lecter when I'm doing this. So it's like a natural bristle brush. It's slightly curved, not curved too much. I feel like this is what you get when you deal with an Asian makeup company. Not very rounded and like short bristles to get our short eyelashes. Yes, they understand me. This formula is very interesting. It's not exactly loose, but it's not thick, but it feels really like slick. You know, it doesn't have that sticky like mascara, like clumpy kind of feeling. It is definitely, I would say, more of like a, not that you can see my non-existent lashes, but it has more of like a separating versus a volumizing, which I happen to like. Anyway, let's move on to lips. So they sent over a lot of lips, which I will not be able to try all of them on. They sent me, well, the box says that one is PK303 and one is PK301, but in the 301 box was also a 303. So I'm going to put this right back in here, and this will go into a giveaway because I don't want to waste and have two of the same color. So I have three colors here. This is BE403. I think BE stands for beige. This looks right up my alley. Again, it has that T3 oil in there. It has 6 botanical moisturizers to soften lips. Perilla oil, avocado oil, argan oil, mango butter, rosehip oil, and vitamin B2. So that is exciting. Okay, here is RS201. That's a very pretty, like, warm pink color. And then we have the PK303, which is a bit of a cooler pink color. Well, this looks actually a little bit peach. All right, of course, I am tempted by this beige color, the BE403. So I'm going to try this one on. And it looks like they only have 4 colors in this lipstick. So I wish I had that PK301 for you, but it looks like it's just a deeper version of the 303. But let's try this beige 403. This is definitely like a glossy lipstick where the pigmentation isn't super high. It's there, but it's definitely more than like a tinted balm. It's somewhere kind of in between. Oh my gosh, it's so comfortable though. And then I got lip glosses, and I got 2 of the BE403. So this is the red 103. I don't think this is a gloss I'll ever use, so I'm going to put this away and add this to the giveaway. And then here is BE403. So this is the one that would be associated to the lipstick I just put on. So I will leave this one out to use. And then the last one is PK304. And yes, that is what is in here. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that pink. So here is BE403. It looks like there's just a hint of sparkle in there. I wonder if you'll even be able to see it on my lips. Typical doe foot applicator. So this has 4 of the moisturizers, perilla oil, avocado oil, argan oil, and rosehip oil. It also has the tea tree oil blend that they have, and it's infused with unique pearlescent ingredient that enhances wear time. It's not sticky at all, and it's creamier than what I was expecting. I thought it was just going to be like a really kind of loose, like oily kind of gloss, but there's definitely some like levity to it. I feel like it's really kind of sitting on my lips, which is really nice. It doesn't feel heavy. It just doesn't feel like it's too loose. Okay, so we're going to end this with the sheer Lucent powder. I'm going to use this as finishing powder, and I need to get out my trusty Face One brush from Sonia G, and I'm just kind of pouncing it. This is the one that has the net, so it's really easy to pick up the powder. That's too much. I do feel like it's lightening my skin tone a bit, but the finish to my skin is quite nice. It definitely mattified my skin a little bit, but there's a nice kind of like satin sheen. You know what I think this powder has? It definitely has a smoothing effect. Look at my forehead. I feel like my forehead looks super smooth. I mean, I still have wrinkles, but it looks like texture-wise, it just looks super, super smooth. And I definitely see a little bit of radiance, but I don't see any kind of like glitters or micro glitters at all. Just a really very subtle sheen. All right, so there is my final look using all Kogendo products. I am loving their makeup. It's so beautiful. I'm not surprised. You know, like I mentioned in the beginning, I am a big, big fan of what I've already tried from them. They've never let me down, I don't think. But just to recap, I'm trying to think of what really kind of stood out. Okay, you know what really stood out was this contrast powder. This little guy, I mean, I think it did quite a bit in terms of contouring. The highlight is really, really beautiful, and it's so travel friendly. Look at that. I'm definitely going to be taking this on my next trip. I really like all the powders. I do like the straight up face powder, the one that is like kind of white. I do like that for setting around my eyes. I think it did a really nice job setting my concealer, mattifying that area, and I still don't look dry. It hasn't like crackled up or anything. Nothing has like sunk into my fine lines. It's looking really good. The natural one was great to kind of set my entire face. There was very little luminosity, which I like in terms of setting. It just kind of gave my skin just a really nice kind of like silky effect. And this powder, like, again, it's like the Kogendo magic. I feel like as I'm sitting here talking that this finishing powder is making my skin look smoother and smoother. It's doing something really kind of magical. I keep looking at my forehead. I don't think my forehead has looked this smooth in a very long time. The eyeshadow palette, this is beautiful. I think for an understated, polished look, if you just want to look like you have your shit together, this is like the perfect palette for this. And then this eyeliner pencil, I really like. So far, it hasn't smudged or whatever, as you can see. And it really went onto my waterline, and I tightlined with it really easily. Sometimes I feel like with pencils, I really have to like work it into those like more watery areas, almost like the water's repelling the pencil. But this went on great. I like this lip gloss. Like it's just sort of sitting on my lips, but it doesn't feel heavy at all. And there's no stickiness. It's not oily at all. It's just a really nice texture. So I really like this lip gloss. Is that it? Oh, the liquid illuminator. This was really pretty. This beige one. I have a feeling this white one's going to be way too light for me, but this is really pretty. I'm surprised that it's with a brush, because I thought it was something that you would mix in with your foundation, so I was expecting a little pump, but the brush is interesting. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think down below. If you've tried the Kogendo makeup before, what some of your favorites are. If you're curious about this line, let me know if you have any questions down below. I will try and answer them to the best of my abilities. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe down below. I would love that, and I'll see you in my next video.